ready? Are you 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 ready to get it? You ready for war? Live is back, are you ready for more? The waiting is over, it's time to get poppin'. We all wanna win it, just cash in the pocket. PPL live, nothing can top it. Fantasy's back, football's the topic. 50 down for 50 in profit. Boss at the top and we all wanna drop. I'm taking the spot, bury the coffin. Time for the action, enough for the talk. Time to get crackin', live is back. And speaking the facts, the champions boss is back to back. Don't happen that often, enjoy the throne. It's time to get off and welcome back. It's time to get started, time for the weak and the strong to be part. We're all in the war, fight to the finish. Mad about trades, but it's part of the business. Do what you need, it's all about winning. Try to be king on the division. Wanna be champ, that is the mission. White with the flow, this is tradition. Ready to go, time for the show. Roll your bloods, get ready to blow. Get ready to hear the good and the bad. You might not agree, but it's only on facts. If you get ugly, yeah, that means you're whack. GENO and Matt, finally we're back. Analyzing and sharing the stats, giving opinions and checking the facts. Keep it six, built to the draft. A league of 10, let's see who get last. If your team stinks, it belongs in the trash. Race to the end, try not to crash. No one agrees, all of us clash. Something like Titan, Spider gets smashed. You better contend if you wanna be champ. If you won't pay attention, you don't have a chance. No chance to win if you don't have a plan. Get a chance at the shit, better win if you can. Yeah, PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready.
And here we are, week 3 of PPL Live. Week 2 is in the books. The first 2 weeks are down. We got a lot of action still to go. But before we get into our week 3 action, let's take a look back at the week 2 scores. Starting with I Need About Trey Fitty getting the charity they needed. Week 1, getting their first win. Still low scoring, 95 to the Argonauts putrid 74. Squad underestimated. There they are, finally flexing the muscle that we expected week 1. 151 to the Skulls 137. That game got really interesting towards the end. Only for the boss leaves no doubt. Downs the baby gas team 153 to 104. Appease the gods, led by Lamar Jackson coming off of a huge MVP performance. Get it done against their Omega Conference rivals. 146 to Patty's Twins 109. And the United play as the Destroyers, playing spoiler sport. Hold on Monday night and get by the Gaff attack. 120 to 117. Alrighty, PPLers, now it's time to jump into our final standing projections. Fantasy trends presented by Snickers, starting with number 10, the Baby Gas team. Number 9, I Need About Trey Fitty. Number 8, we've got the Omega Conference champs, Patty's Twins. At number 7, the Gaff Attack. At 6, the United play as the Destroyers. At number 5, are they in free fall? The Argonauts. At number 4, we've got He's the Gods. At 3, Squad underestimated. At 2, the Skulls. And at number 1, the Pantheon Cup champions. Back-to-back, leave no doubt performances. Only for the boss, capping off our fantasy trends. What do you think of this week, Ulysses?
I mean, I loved it. We saw a lot of intrigue in the league and leading into a very fascinating set of week 3 games.
No, definitely, man. I'm looking at it. It's definitely starting to reflect what we're seeing on the field. Hey, PPL Live, we're going to go with the good, the bad, and the ugly. We all know how it works. Let me hear your good, bad, and ugly for week 2, Ulysses.
I mean, I got to go with the champs. I mean, you said it, back-to-back, leave no doubt performances.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's hard enough to get it, but like anybody that played, there's only one team that would have been 2-0 no matter what, and that's only for the boss. And what impresses me most is that he's getting productivity from his non-Chiefs.
Right.
I mean, these guys have always been Chief heavy. Chiefs have always been a facet. Again, still got it. Mahomes, 19.3.
Mm-hmm.
You see what Kelsey put up, 7.6. Not his most explosive. Hell, a down day.
Right.
But the Chiefs ultimately get the win, especially on a Thursday night. It just sets you up in a good position. But, man, let's talk about Nick Chubb. He really established himself as the dominant back, perhaps, in Cleveland.
Right.
Stephon Diggs is really benefited from Gabe Davis not being in the lineup.
Definitely.
And just went off. I loved what I saw, and it's like this team still has a George Kittle on the bench, still has Brandon Cooks. I mean, we still haven't seen the full potential of Only for the Boss.
Right.
It only gets better because next week they're playing I Need About Straight 50, which I'm going to put as my lock of the week. And so Only for the Boss is a good week rolling into a good-looking week 3.
Right. Let me hear your bad, man.
Bad, I mean, it's hard to say it, but it was the Skulls for me. I mean, this was the prestige matchup of the week, and frankly, certain guys just didn't show.
Right.
I mean, you look at James Conner. I mean, this is your RB1, and this guy was absolutely irrelevant.
Yeah.
But more than anything, and this is what I'm going to say, is what are you doing playing Darnell Mooney in the flex?
Right.
What is anybody doing playing any Chicago offensive players? Probably outside of Singletary at the moment. Again, you just had better options. Roll the dice with Amari. Hell, roll the dice with Ramondre.
Right.
Melvin Gordon. I mean, you just had better options here, and ultimately, I just didn't like the overall performance. Again, I just thought that the Skulls really should have got better at the squad a little bit more here.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, with Kyler doing what he did, I mean, this really was in doubt in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was just the Skulls tried with Josh Allen, but again, it was just a bad week. I don't expect it to be indicative of the season.
Right.
Again, I just think that they could have got a better lineup in here and won this game.
Yeah, yeah. And give me your ugly, man.
Man, ugly. Gaff, dog, what are you doing? I mean, fundamentally, and this is what it gets down on, is this team is 0-2 by 4 points. And it comes down to this. What are you doing with this Bills D on your bench?
Right.
I get it. Fluke week one. You didn't know. Browns were respectable. Week 2, though? Come on, dog. The Bills are too good to be on your bench.
Right.
And we saw exactly what it did. I mean, next week, these guys play a very tough
Miami
Skulls
offense
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, and he's playing the Skulls, and I don't get it. This is the number 2 defense.
Oh, I see what you mean.
What are you doing? I mean, and Rashad Bateman. I mean, again, these guys were quality draft picks. I'm just not liking what's.
I mean, Rashad was a keeper, man.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has all the talent here. Again, I just don't like that he didn't put Rashad into the lineup, even with that great draft. I mean, again, it's coming down to decisions. And again, Gaff is, I think, one of the few teams that a few tweaks in play, and he's 2-0 right now.
Right.
That's a 4-game spread already off of first place in Omega.
Yeah.
And we're 2 weeks in. And so, lots to be desired here, and it's just been an ugly start. Gaff has shown, though, repeatedly the ability to bounce back from ugly starts.
Right.
This isn't the end of the Gaff, but damn, you'd like to see it get off to a better start.
Well, yeah, and they got off to a bad start last year, and it ended up biting them by the end of the season. They weren't able to get into the PPL playoffs when they were out by like 1 game, so it might not seem like a big deal now, but these early season losses can come back to haunt you when we get to the bubble time around the PPL playoffs. All right, man. So my good for week 2 is squad underestimated. They bounced back in a big way. We weren't quite impressed with that week 1. I think they only got to about 109. But they really flexed muscle in week 2 behind Kyler Murray's big comeback effort. Saquon Barkley was solid, not spectacular, but we'll take a 10.3 after a 30-point week. Christian McCaffrey finally looked like Christian McCaffrey. He had 100 yards rushing in that game, but I'm still not seeing the touchdowns, the breakaway speed that I expected. But hey, man, I mean, we got to go back to it. That stimulus package, man. Tyreek Hill doing the thing. 39 points. I mean, he looked like Kansas City Tyreek. The dude looks like if he's able to maintain this level of play, squad underestimated is going to be a big problem in the Alpha Conference, especially for the Pantheon Cup champions, only for the boss. So squad flexing muscle in that opening week. Good options everywhere. Niners D, Jahan Dotson, one of my favorite picks from the draft. The only place that I think that they might want to look to upgrade might be tight end, but I think Kyle Pitts could easily jump into a big week. My bad is the Pantheon Cup finalists, Omega Conference champions from last year, Patty's twins. Aaron, it doesn't look like it's coming back to Aaron. It looks like he's content to manage the game and win the game. And it doesn't seem like he really cares about the statistics. And it doesn't seem like the Packers are going to be airing it out for Aaron to get big yards, big numbers. So that's going to be something for them to look into. And obviously the injury to Michael Pittman was huge. Obviously Sutton did a good job. Zach Ertz was solid. But Jonathan Taylor, we still have not seen a Jonathan Taylor performance yet this year. And, I mean, the Patty's Twins needs that like a man in hell needs ice water. So that's my bad. I still think there's a lot of time for the Twins to get back to where they were. But it's bad because we're only getting deeper into the season as things go along. And I don't think that they have an adequate replacement for Aaron Rodgers. And my ugly is, this is the first time I think the Argonauts have ever been ugly. But that's because, since we've done PPL Live, they've never scored 74.3. It was charitable givings for I Need About Trey Fitty. And it might help him get to that 350 winning percentage that he's aiming for. So all more power to him. But on the Argonaut side, the real reason the week was ugly was, you rarely see, bad things compound on this lineup. I'm talking about Dalton Schultz, negative 0.2. Indy defense, 1 point. Baltimore coach blowing a 21-point lead and losing. And then obviously the Rogues Gallery just was not there. Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, and Jefferson. There's an APB out for those three guys. And those guys are normally the heart and soul, the core of the Argonaut attack. So for them to not get that, it was just an ugly all-around week. Like I said, a 74 out of this team was just not what we expected. I teased that this could be the upset of the week, but I never expected that the Argonauts would not be able to crack at least 80. So that being said, it was an ugly week for them. And I think that this could be indicative of a future things to go just because of the range of outcomes. They go from 154 in week 1 to 74 in week 2. That doesn't look like the world beaters that the Argonauts have been over time, and that could, come back to haunt them as the season goes along. But that being said, what's past this prologue, it's time to look forward into our Week 3 matchup, starting with our first matchup of Week 3, big interconference game of Week 1. We've got Appease the Gods taking on the Baby Gas team. All right, man, so we got 0-2 against 2-0. ATG coming in with Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, Michael Thomas. Obviously, Mike Evans has been suspended. Jeff Wilson Jr. looked good in cleanup duty. And then we got the BGT. Respectable effort last week, but they still can't find a way. It looks like Jacobs and Elliott are being phased out of their respective offenses. What do you think of this matchup, man? It looks like a mismatch from here. ATG favored by almost 20. We got Appease the Gods, ATG, against the Baby Gas team, the BGT. What you think of this one?
I actually agree with that. I think that this is two teams really treading in different directions, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. It's guys on teams who are really struggling to define the role.
Right. On
the BGT, Joe Burrow coming back from a Super Bowl performance, it's a little bit of a layover.
Right.
And we're just seeing this team struggle. They could absolutely have a get-back game against the Jets, but again, we have seen Joe Burrow not take care of the football.
Yeah. And
the Jets can take advantage of that. Again, I don't trust anything with Las Vegas and Dallas right now. There's a lot more question marks. That's why I just am not confident with the Baby Gas team here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is really the only top 10 player. I'm not really even going to look at a kicker at this point in the season that you've got in the lineup. Again, I would not be starting the Bengals, because again, I don't really trust them to take care of the football.
Right.
Joe Burrow may in fact hurt this defense.
And they've been getting strong projections all year, man.
Well, and again, I saw them go pick up this Vikings coach. I'd be hesitant, man.
Okay.
Detroit has shown that they could put up points. We saw with the Commanders last week. They hung with Philly week 1.
Right.
And so I saw two different Vikings teams, a really good one against Green Bay. If that team shows up that I saw last few nights ago, Detroit will walk all over these Vikings.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be so confident there. On the other side, man, Lamar Jackson. I mean, we've got 50-yard bonuses in the PPL.
Definitely.
We had 75-yard bonuses. He'd have 2 on Sunday.
Right.
It was disgusting. Again, Joe Mixon struggling because of the quarterback play, but hey, Joe Burrow gets right. I think Joe Mixon gets right.
Right.
Montgomery's the only part of the Chicago offense I would trust.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, he walks away with that Michael Thomas trade happy because Michael Thomas, again, it may be garbage.
Productive.
That's what Jameis is about. What I like about ATG, frankly, though, is in the first 2 weeks, I love the 2 free agency waiver wire pickups he's gotten. Jeff Wilson, running back role. I mean, Elijah Mitchell comes back in a few weeks. I mean, hell, he'll get Robinson off of his injury reserves.
Right.
You look at Curtis Samuel's looking like he's a big part of what Carson Wentz is trying to do.
Right.
And so I like these pickups that ATG has. And then I look at the matchups. I love the Bears against Houston. And I'm not buying that. I think that the Jacksonville game just shows that Indy doesn't know really how to play against that team. And I think the Chargers and company get a bounce-back game after losing a nail-biter to their close rivals, the Chiefs. So I've got ATG holding pretty close to the line here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got him going 131 to Baby Gas Team's 111.
All right. I agree with you. I think ATG is going to get this one. I think Lamar Jackson. I think he's in for an MVP type season, but they can't blow the actual game. They've got to win the actual games for him to get the MVP. But that performance last week was, I mean, it wasn't eye-opening for me because I expect this from Lamar, but I think that he put the rest of the league on notice. I mean, the touchdown passes are one thing. The 80-yard run to make it 35-14 was something just of sheer beauty. I mean, it's like Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, just artiste what Lamar was pulling off out there. Needed to get the win, but I expect them to go to New England and bounce back in a good way with their running game and with Lamar being able to connect with Mark Andrews. I think that Lamar's a strong play in the entire season. I don't think New England's defense is going to be able to slow him down at all. I like the Chicago defense play on ATG side. I think that Houston on the road is going to probably have a little bit tougher time. And I think that the Chicago Bears can exploit them, especially if they can get a pass rush going. On the Baby Gas Team side, man, Tony Pollard is coming for Ezekiel Elliott's spot, and it was no more apparent than it was last week. They got equal amount of touches, they got equal amount of opportunities, and it just seems Tony Pollard is obviously at this point the more explosive player, and it's bearing out. I think that when Dak comes back into the lineup, he might have a new starting running back because Zeke is looking like the number 2 back and Pollard's looking like the number 1 back. So that trade over time for the BGT may not be as good as it looked when we discussed it in the preseason. I like Knox. I like Clyde Edwards. I like the BGT's guys. There's nothing not to like. But then when you look across the way and you see Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, even Curtis Samuels, guys who we know are going to get the ball, get multiple opportunities to score. Even Jeff Wilson Jr. The Niners had another running back injury with Tyrone Davis-Price going down. So Jeff Wilson is on his path to carries is only getting clearer and clearer. And I think this is also a clear indication of who's got this one. I got to appease the gods getting this matchup 129 to BGT's 114. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into the Omega Conference for a big-time matchup, a game of true consequence for both teams as they both are coming off of losses. We have the Gaff Attack taking on the Skulls. All right, man. So Gaff, he was one of my preseason picks for a great year. He's already fumbled the bag with 2 terrible losses early in the season, and the reason they're terrible and ugly, like you indicated, is because these were games that he could have easily won. On the Skull side, Can't get too mad at him, but yeah, that Darnell Mooney move looks like he's already corrected it and put Amari Cooper in. That pretty much cost him an epic come from behind victory over Squad Underestimated. I can't even really be mad at the Skulls. In the defeat, they put up 137. What do you think of this matchup, man? Gaff Skulls.
Yeah, I mean, this one's so hard to pick just because I think both of these teams are better than their records reflect.
Okay.
I mean, Skulls, I think, should be undefeated. Frankly, Gaff should be undefeated. I mean,
okay,
this should be the prestige matchup of the week easily with a few different calls. So, looking at it, though, I mean, look, a lot of people have been hating on two quarterbacks in the league the last season, Jalen Hurts and Tua, and both guys really seem to be getting into their...
It's that Alabama QB, man. It's that Alabama QB.
Yeah, man. And so, I frankly, I love Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown against Washington this week.
Okay.
You've got an interconference game. This team has shown that they really haven't been stopped yet. We saw how... the Lions did, and again, the Lions just played Philly. So I mean, again, I'm thinking that this should still be a high scoring line.
Okay.
The question marks I have for the Gaff are really that Seattle DK Metcalf. I'm not so sure about that.
I don't understand the loyalty to that. I mean, the guy's even on his logo with his shirt off. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, there just doesn't seem to be no fight there. And typically the Gaff is a little bit more active in the free agency market at this point.
Right.
I'm kind of curious where he's going. I mean, we see Rashad Bateman's in the lineup. Again, Browns D, he's going against Pittsburgh. I mean, again, I understand why he's not going at Miami with the Bills. I just think that this Bills team is special. And
yeah,
there's no way.
Well, it cost him last week, man. And then, I mean, Cleveland's coming.
It cost him the last 2 weeks. If he would have started this defense the last 2 weeks, he would have won.
Okay.
And
True.
I'm not going to say that's going to be the difference here, but they'd be in my starting lineup. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, as far as consistent play, I've watched both of those games, and that defense is set up with playmakers. And again, Von Miller makes everybody on that D line a sack danger at this point. They're built to generate fantasy points. I'm just saying. Across from it, Josh Allen. I think that there ain't nothing stopping Josh Allen at this point.
No.
And really, the only weakness I see is James Conner on Arizona. I mean, again, I'm just not in love with Arizona right now.
Right.
Yeah, they got the win, but I mean, again, when you have to do that frenetic pace,
that was magical. That was magical.
Yeah, I'm just not buying it as much.
I mean, they won on a fumble recovery in overtime. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know.
Frankly, I'd be playing Jamal Williams right now. Detroit's the more explosive offense to me. I'd be going Jamal Williams. That's the only lineup change I do. I think even without it, though, the Skulls get this one. And again, the Gaff season just continues to be a season of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Skulls winning a close one, 125 to the Gaff's 122.
All right, man, I'm going to have to agree with you. And it's for a couple of reasons here. As I'm looking at the Gaff's lineup, the more and more I'm looking at it. Get DK Metcalf out. Why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you going with Cleveland D? Why are you even going Philly head coach? You've already got enough Philadelphia Eagles on your squad. You don't need to triple down. You don't need to try to go.
Eggs in the basket. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to Big Chief or Big Eagle like the boss. The boss gets by with that because the Chiefs are like a once in a generation type team. The Eagles aren't quite there yet. I think that he's sniffing a little bit too much of that first take Kool-Aid where they're picking the Eagles to do big things. I'm not quite there yet, so I don't like that. I do like Javonte Williams. Antonio Gibson, it looks good, but I'm telling you, man, once Robinson comes back, I think Robinson's coming for that spot. A.J. Dillon probably needs to get back out there. Buffalo defense needs to be in his lineup, and he needs to just, let the chips fall where they may. On the Skull side, man, look, even in a loss, they put up 137. Even in a week where they didn't look good, they put up 137. Okay, that's the Skull's floor so far this season is 137. I think that they get there this week. I think that they get to 137. Look, man, did you see what I know you saw what Lamar Jackson did to that Miami defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now Josh Allen's coming to town. So there's no break. Yeah, there's no breaks And I love how the Skulls are like, they win Bills coach week 1. They win Bills coach week 2. I think that they have the confidence in Josh Allen and in that team to be what everyone is saying that they're going to be. So I just like the bravado there. I'm with you on James Conner, but at the same time, the Skulls are starting to actually get a little thin at running back. Aaron Jones actually came back like I predicted he would with a huge week for the Skulls. It wasn't quite enough to get it done, but it was still a great thing to do. I've been talking up to McLaren and Wentz's combination, and for whatever reason, it's just not cracking. Wentz seems to be more in love with Dotson and Curtis Samuel. Now, I can't argue with results. It works. But, I mean, he's got to start letting McLaren get loose because he's a route technician, and I think that that's a guy that they definitely want to get involved. I love Jamar Chase, even though he might draw that young man Sauce Gardner from the New York Jets. And quiet as kept, the brother's turning into a shutdown corner. And I really like the potential and energy he brings to his team. So that might make Jamar's day a little harder. I love Waller. I like the Cooper play. Baltimore defense, I mean, he almost could go I think you could go Tampa Bay against Green Bay. There are no real threats there anymore. That aside, I got the Skulls getting this matchup and getting back on track with an Omega Conference victory. I got the Skulls getting this one 137 to the Gavs 124. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into the Alpha Conference for a baptism by fire. We got I Need About Trey Fitty taking on Only for the Boss. All right, man. So Trey Fitty finally got into the I ain't gonna say finally because it was only week 2, but he got into the winner's circle. Got the 3 over the Argonauts. On the other side, we got Only for the Boss coming in. You're good for the first 2 weeks. This guy's looking like he's on the warpath to repeat as Pantheon Cup champions. About this matchup, Trey Fitty and Only for the Boss.
Yeah, I just don't see a path forward for I Need About Trey Fitty, but hey, said the same thing last week. I'll say what I'm going to say here is, again, I think Trevor Lawrence, I mean, again, saw what he did last week.
Yeah.
I don't think Jacksonville does the same and on the road against the Chargers next week.
Right.
I'm still not sold on Etienne either, man. I saw Robinson get loose last week, scored about a 30-yard TD.
Yeah.
I think that he's the guy. Can't say nothing about Waddle. I mean, Fournette also. I was slightly concerned as that Tampa Bay game went on. They started to go away from Fournette and with some of that younger running back play.
And he played well.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's slightly concerning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I look at the rest of this lineup, and they're really not set to take on Only for the Boss.
No, they're
again,
not.
Like Cowboys D against Giants, I mean, sure, maybe. But Bengals coach, I would not be starting the Bengals coach right now. I mean, maybe he thinks that that's a good right game.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, there's just easier plays out there.
Yeah.
When I look at the other side, I think that Only for the Boss should have a cakewalk here. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is playing Indy.
Right.
Indy's been one of the worst teams in the league.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love what I see with Nick Chubb, and I mean, again, he's going to have a tough day, but again, I look at some of these other matchups. Miles Sanders should go off.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, this guy could have a premier day against these Miami DBs. Deebo Samuel, I mean, again, I think that Deebo can get loose against Denver, and again, we've seen the rapport between Deebo
and Deebo loves Sunday Night Football.
Well, yeah, he likes primetime games, and he shows out. What I don't like here is Robbie Anderson. I mean, I think that you saw him come out with the dud last week. I mean, I'd probably either go Penny. Hell, I might even go with an AJ, or not an AJ.
I mean, that's the thing. The boss has so many options. I mean, he could go anywhere he wants.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I look at it. I just don't think it's Robbie. I mean,
okay.
Anybody catching stuff from Baker Mayfield, you're just not going to get that much productivity.
Right.
I mean, you might get some garbage, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like the Packers' D play. I mean, they haven't put up a lot of points, but I mean, anytime you have two quarterbacks this good going against each other,
Yeah.
I'm just betting. I mean, the league wants to see fireworks here,
Right.
and so I'm betting that's one of the higher over/unders of the week.
Okay.
And traditionally, you just don't want to start that defense either side
Right.
in a game that's projected to go like that. Justin Tucker should have a field day. Great kicking conditions in New England.
Yeah.
And again, Chiefs coach should roll. Again, I don't see this one being close. I don't think that they leave no doubt this week.
Okay.
But I've got only for the boss winning this one comfortable. 132. So I need about Trey Fitty's 90.
Oh wow. So he still won't crack 100, man. All right. No, I mean, the only way I can see this matchup going Trey Fitty's way is if only for the boss scores less than 80. They can definitely hang in this matchup. I actually like the Trevor Lawrence pickup. I think that he's a really how do I put it? He's a guy that in 3 years everyone will wish that they had him. But right now he's still developing into the player that everyone expects him to be. But I do like the connection. I like the Etienne, Trevor Lawrence stack there, because if by chance they do start to go off and guys start scoring, he's getting all of that. I just don't understand why Jacksonville is the place you want to go to create a stack. I do love the Jalen Waddle play, obviously. He waddled his way to a big game for Trey Fitty last week. I think he put up, I believe it was about, 35 points. So that went a long way towards their victory in week 2. And it was an impressive win just because when they needed it, they got it. I like the Drake London play. He had a great game against the Rams defense. He's coming off of his bench for the first time, young rookie. So it's interesting to see what he'll bring to the table. David Njoku, whatever. Marquise Hollywood Brown, he's just showing me the more and more he plays that he's a number 2 or number 3 receiver that's been disguised as a number 1 his entire career, but he's not that dude. I like the Dallas defense actually on Monday night, and I think Cincinnati coach gets it. On the Boston side, I'm going with him obviously because of all of the options that are available to them. Nick Chubb is looking sensational. Patrick Mahomes looks like Patrick Mahomes, and like I said, Deebo Samuel loves the night games. Stack that up with Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is still questionable, so if Gabe Davis doesn't play, Stephon Diggs goes off. I got only for the boss getting this one, but I think Trey Fitty actually can make this one a little more interesting. I got only for the boss coming down a little bit to earth, 127. So I need about Trey Fitty's 115. I think he actually makes it a little closer than we might expect. And moving on to our next matchup, our final Omega matchup of the weekend. We've got a feud in the house as the United Players, the Destroyers, take on Patty's Twins. All right, man. So this one, I mean, it pretty much is what it is. The UP bring in Tom Brady. The Patty's Twins bring in Aaron Rodgers. These two quarterbacks are actually playing each other. Austin Eckler against Derrick Henry. Swift against Jonathan Taylor. I mean, even the receiving matchups are pretty interesting. I mean, this is actually pretty star-studded, man. What do you think of this one? United Players, the Destroyers, who are 1-1, going up against Patty's Twins, who are clawing for life in that Omega Conference.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the ones that I think it is going to be, again, hard to call.
Okay.
Because you have so much talent. I mean,
is this season defining for Patty's Twins? Is this season defining?
It's never season defining when it's this early. People start overreacting.
Right.
But, and this is a big but for me, again, just looking at the lineup for the Twins, they don't have that guy this season who's really just shown out. I mean,
okay.
Again, I share your reservations. I've watched both of these Green Bay games, and I mean, frankly, like, I wouldn't be playing any Green Bay Packers right now.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers will win the game, but I think he's going to hover between, I don't know, 19 to 25 points. Hell, I've got questions. I mean, those guys were the only reason they won week 1, and if they don't get involved in this game, I don't see them having a path forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, St. Brown, again, I think that the Detroit Lions win that game, frankly. Where I go here is the intangibles.
Okay.
Steelers D, great. Cool. I mean, good pickup. I didn't think you needed to get him. McManus was perfectly serviceable.
Yeah.
I've got questions about their ability to get a coach here. I mean, they're definitely not playing maybe they play the Raiders at Tennessee. Maybe they feel confident with that. But if I know the Twins management, style matters to this team.
Right.
And getting punked the way the Raiders did, that shit is not cute. And I really am seeing a hard time with them sticking with the Raiders coach. Looking at the other side, I mean, Mike Evans isn't playing for Tom Brady, which may impact him, but hey, he was playing without Godwin and Julio Jones. Those guys are in the lineup.
Right.
I mean, we saw what the Minnesota offense did against those Green Bay DBs. There's no reason Tom Brady can't eat that Green Bay defense to pieces.
Right.
This may be Derrick Henry's get-right game against Las Vegas. DeAndre Swift, I mean, again, he should ball out.
Yeah. I think I have a feeling where you're leaning, man.
Yeah, I really like the lineup and matchups for both teams. Mike Williams has a favorable matchup. Juju Smith-Schuster should get in.
Right.
Cup. The Cup is, to me, like the X factor. If Cup has a Cup-like game, I think they win.
Yeah.
I don't care who Patty Twins plays in the flex. I like the Broncos to keep that San Francisco game competitive. She's rolling the dice. I'm going with the UP getting another one, dropping the Twins to 0-3.
Okay.
I've got the UP winning this one 121 to the Twins 115.
All right, man. Looking at this matchup, I mean, I'm looking at Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Derrick Henry against Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry. DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor. That's actually a coin flip, and based on matchups, I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. Schuster and Michael Pittman. Okay, Michael Pittman. Mike Williams and St. Brown. I'm going to go Mike Williams. Goddard and Ertz. I'm going to Goddard. Cup and Empty. I'm going Cup. Denver and Pitt. I'll go Pitt. Okay. Koo and Prater. I'm going Prater. Tampa Bay and Las Vegas. I'm going Tampa Bay, man. It's really no simpler than that. I got the United play as a Destroyers getting this one, getting the 2-1, dropping the Pantheon Cup finalists, the Omega champs, to 0-3 on the young season. Twins are going to be scrambling after week 3. I got the UP getting this one. I got them going for a big 144 to Patty's Twins 110. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. We've got a huge one in the Alpha Conference. 2 original 5 teams. These 2 teams have played each other more than any 2 Alpha Conference teams. We've got the Argonauts coming up against Squad Underestimated. All right, man. Squad is in back-to-back prestige matchups of the week. The season 2 of No Excuses has started off on a great foot. The Argonauts obviously stumbled in a big way last week. What do you think of this one, man? The Argonauts seemingly limping into a matchup with a Squad Underestimated team that looks ready to go.
I'm not buying it. I got the Argos doing what they've done to the squad year after year after year. I got the Argonauts in a leave no doubt performance, and I'm going to tell you why.
Why is that?
Kyler Murray. The way that they played against Las Vegas, look at how Kyler Murray plays against the Rams. This is a team that has his number.
Okay.
Chuck, Squad knows this. I mean, he's going with Rams coach, which I like. But I don't think that that's going to be enough to negate the loss of your of Kyler Murray just not showing up. I mean, barring that fourth quarter, that overtime, you probably lose that game last week.
Okay. And
this team is too good all around. Has too much talent, both really everywhere, up and down the lineup. You look at this team's bench. They are locked everywhere, and even though Kyler's in a top 10 position now, I've got a lot of question marks about the longevity of this Arizona offense as they go through the season. And right now, again, we've seen what Saquon can do. He should show up. Again, Dallas is a team that's played him, though, and we'll have to see how they react to that. Christian McCaffrey, no excuses against
New Orleans. Yeah.
I mean, again, we saw them. They were stout. But again, Carolina's got to get this done. And Christian McCaffrey has to know he's the best player on that team. He needs to take over games. Tyreek Hill. you know, he's the number 3 player. But again,
I mean, he balled out last week, Ulysses.
he balled out in the 4th quarter. That's what I'm saying. When these guys get a lot of garbage points at the end of games, I mean, it mattered. It mattered for that game. I just don't see Tyreek Hill pulling off that kind of game. And again, Tua went out of his mind. I'm not saying that's not going to be something we don't see from time to time, but to expect that consistently, like I said, I just think guys are kind of over projecting right now.
Okay.
Had strong starts, and I think maybe this is a comeback to earth moment. We'll see. Again, I don't necessarily think that squad's got a bad lineup here at all.
Right.
I just think that the Argos are going to be bouncing back, and again, they've traditionally played well in these matchups. Justin Herbert, a lot of question marks, but again, we saw the toughness.
Yeah.
He came back in that game and threw a nice TD. Didn't get a chance to win the onside kick, failed. But again, we know what Najee can do. We know what Dalvin can do, and Justin Jefferson. And frankly, that Detroit game should be relatively high scoring. Both those guys should be involved.
Okay.
Devontae, again, he maybe takes that leadership position, gets them rah-rah. I think he's the best player in Vegas.
Yeah.
And maybe he's going to have to do that. But that's not really his persona.
Yeah.
He never had to do that in Green Bay because he was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, a guy who very much is the face of the team.
True.
So maybe this is his moment to elevate. You saw Argonauts immediately address the Dalton Schultz issue, brought in Tyler Higbee.
Yeah.
I think that was a great call. Rams throw there a lot. It's a top 10 option. We saw T. Higgins. Again, Rams, they're both going to be getting a piece of that Rams game.
Yeah.
Again, I think that Kyler Murray is a little bit of the X factor.
Yeah, he can win this matchup for squad.
Potential here.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a backup quarterback on the bench, so frankly, he has to go with him.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think the Ravens get it. And again, I've got the Argos winning a very close but leave no doubt performance.
Okay.
Going 141 to squad's 138.
Okay. Oh man, that's a great projection. That's worthy of the prestige matchup of the week. I'm going the other way on this one. The Argonauts were my ugly this week. The squad underestimated was my good this week. Maybe this might be finally the time that squad has been waiting years for the changing of the guard in the PPL. I mean, nothing illustrates that more than the Argonauts having a 5-year low. I'm not talking like a 5-week low, a 5-year low in scoring. I mean, I think that should alarm anyone that puts on the black and gold of the Argonauts. For a squad underestimated, man, I'm loving Saquon as that final piece on Monday night. Christian McCaffrey, it is a tougher matchup, but they are at home. We saw what Tyreek Hill did to the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round of the playoffs in the AFC last year. I think if they can get the ball to Tyreek in space, he can make big plays. The Julio Jones play is a whatever play. I'm not really all that in love with that. I would probably go with Brandon Ayuk. And then Alvin Kamara should be coming back, which is a big comeback for squad underestimated. Squad was, I mean, they looked like they were the leave no doubt team last week. And I mean, they got sniped at the end by only for the boss. Now on the Argonaut side, Justin Herbert's injury, it's a cartilage injury. It's a core injury, and quarterbacks need their core to throw the football. I think that might be a huge issue. I think the Argonauts also are acknowledging that could be a huge issue. That's why they went on ahead and picked up Tua Tagovailoa. So they aren't sure about Justin Herbert, and I'm not either. Najee Harris, I mean, Najee's good. He gets the volume, but his ball carrier vision needs to improve. Dalvin and Justin Jefferson, you're right. I agree with you. They should bounce back in a big way, especially since the game isn't in a night game slot where it seems like Kirk Cousins forgets to play football. Devontae Adams, I'm sure he's missing Aaron Rodgers as much as the Argonauts are. I do like the Tyler Higbee play. And, I mean, Gabe Davis or T. Higgins is solid in the flex. But like I said, on the other side, I just like too much of what squad underestimated did. They've been waiting for this moment, and I think this is the moment they capitalize, put the Argonauts in a alpha conference hole, and put themselves in alpha conference prime position. I've got squad underestimated in a leave no doubt performance, getting this one 145 to the Argonauts 131. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Ulysses S. Hate and Geno the Gent signing off. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.